Jay wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stepped out of his small ship. The sun was low, casting long shadows over the strange red rocks of planet Varies. He had never been here before, but the stories about this place were hard to ignore. Ancient ruins, hidden treasures, and old legends surrounded this quiet world. Most traders avoided it, but Jay needed work and maybe a little adventure. The landing zone was quiet, except for the soft hum of the ship's engines cooling down. Jay looked around. The air smelled dry, but not bad. The sky was a deep orange, fading to dark blue at the edges. It was beautiful in a lonely sort of way. Jay tightened his pack straps and started walking toward the ruins marked on his map. The ruins were far older than anything Jay had seen before. Huge stone pillars, half buried in the dust, rose from the ground like forgotten giants. Strange symbols were carved deep into the stones. Jay felt a strange thrill. He was not just a trader, he was also a seeker of stories and secrets. As Jay moved deeper into the ruins, the air grew cooler. Shadows stretched long and strange shapes moved at the edges of his vision. He shook his head, telling himself it was just his imagination. Still, he could not shake the feeling that he was not alone. Suddenly, a voice echoed in the silence. It was soft but clear, like a song carried on the wind. "Who dares enter my domain?" Jay froze. The voice was strange, unlike anything he had heard before. It was both beautiful and dangerous. He turned slowly, and there she stood. The alien queen. She was tall, taller than any human Jay had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, like moonlight on water. Her eyes were large and deep, glowing softly in the fading light. They were the kind of eyes that seemed to look right into your soul. Jay felt a shiver run down his spine. She wore a crown made of crystals and silver, shining with a light that seemed to come from inside her. Her robes floated around her like mist. Despite her regal appearance, there was something sad and lonely about her. "You are not from this world," she said. "Why have you come?" Jay swallowed hard. He tried to speak, but his voice caught in his throat. Finally, he managed, I am a trader. I come looking for stories, for secrets, maybe help." The queen studied him carefully. Then her eyes locked with his. For a moment, everything around Jay seemed to disappear. The wind stopped. The colors faded. It was as if time itself held its breath. In that moment, Jay understood. This was no ordinary meeting. The queen's gaze was a curse, a binding power that could change his fate forever. "You have sealed your fate by looking into my eyes," the queen said softly. "You must choose, marry me or perish." Jay staggered back, trying to break free from the invisible hold her gaze had on him. But it was no use. The choice was real, and the consequences were clear. "Marry you," Jay whispered, disbelief in his voice. "But I don't even know you." The queen's expression softened. "There is no other way. The curse will take your life if you refuse." Fear and confusion battled inside Jay. How could he marry a stranger from another world? What did it even mean? And what would happen if he said no? I need time to think," Jay said, hoping to buy some space. The queen nodded. "You will have one day. After that, your fate will be decided." With those words, she turned and disappeared into the shadows of the ruins, leaving Jay alone with his thoughts. Jay sank to the ground, his heart pounding. The stories about the alien queen were true and far worse than he imagined. But beneath the fear, something stirred inside him. A small spark of courage. He was a traitor, yes, but also a survivor. Maybe, just maybe, he could find a way out of this. As the last light of day faded from the sky, Jay looked back at the ruins. The path ahead was uncertain and dangerous, but it was also full of possibility. Whatever happened next, his life had changed forever. And the real adventure was only beginning. Jay sat on the edge of his ship's ramp, staring out at the red horizon. The day had passed too quickly, and the Queen's words echoed in his mind like a heavy drumbeat. Marry me or perish. How could anyone choose between a stranger's demand and death? The very idea seemed impossible. His fingers fidgeted with a small trinket he kept in his pocket, a reminder of home, something ordinary in a world suddenly strange. He needed a plan, but how do you make a plan when the rules don't belong to you? The ship's COMM beeped softly, breaking his thoughts. It was a message from his old friend, Mara, a fellow trader who knew the dangers of Varys better than anyone. "Jay, you there? Heard you landed. What's the story? You always find trouble." Jay hesitated, then typed back, "I need to talk. Meet at the trading post." The trading post was a small cluster of buildings near the landing zone, dusty and worn but alive with chatter from travelers and traders. Mara waited for him at a corner table, her sharp eyes scanning Jay the moment he walked in. "All right, spill it," she said without a greeting. "What's got you looking like you've seen a ghost?" Jay took a deep breath and told her everything: the ruins, the Queen, the curse, and the impossible choice. Mara listened carefully, her usual smirk replaced by a serious look. "That's a lot," she said finally. "I've heard stories about the Queen, but no one ever talks about the curse. It's just old legends, right?" "Not this time," Jay replied. "She said I have one day to decide. Marry her or die." Mara leaned back, eyes wide. "That's not just a curse. That's a trap. But if you marry her, maybe you can break it. Or maybe you'll be stuck forever." Jay felt the weight of the decision crushing him. "I don't even know her. How can I marry someone I just met?" Mara shrugged. "Sometimes, the hardest choices are the ones we have to make. But you're not alone. You've got me. And maybe there's more to this Queen than just a curse." Jay nodded, feeling a little stronger. At least he wasn't facing this alone. Back on his ship, Jay prepared for the next meeting. He cleaned his clothes and practiced steadying his voice. Whatever happened, he wanted to show strength. Fear would only make things worse. When he returned to the ruins, the Queen waited in the same spot. Her eyes were calm but held the same deep power that had sealed his fate. "You have come back," she said softly. "I need to understand," Jay said. "Why me? Why this curse?" The Queen sighed, a sound like wind through dry leaves. "The curse is old. It binds my people and me to a fate we did not choose. Long ago, an enemy sought to destroy us with dark magic. The curse was a protection, but it became a prison." Jay listened, fascinated despite himself. The Queen was not just a ruler but a victim of history. Her strength was real, but so was her pain. "If I marry you, what happens?" Jay asked. "The curse will bind us together. It will protect you, but also tie your fate to mine," she explained. "You will gain power, but also responsibility. If you refuse, the curse will take your life." Jay swallowed hard. The choice was clearer now, but no easier. "Is there another way?" he asked. The Queen shook her head. "Not yet. But you may find one. You are clever and brave. That is why I chose you." Jay was surprised. "You chose me?" Her eyes softened. "Yes. Not many can look into my eyes and survive. You are special." For the first time, Jay saw a spark of hope. Maybe this curse was not just a trap but a challenge, and maybe he was meant to meet it. "I will think more," Jay said. "But I need to know more about you, your people, and this curse." The Queen nodded. "Tomorrow, you will see more. For now, rest. Your journey has only begun." As Jay walked away, his mind raced. The impossible decision weighed heavily on him, but something had changed. Fear was still there, but so was curiosity and a strange sense of destiny. Back on his ship, Jay stared out at the stars. He knew that in one day, his life could change forever. But he also knew that he was not the same man who had landed on Varys. He was ready to face the unknown. The morning sun cast a soft light over the ruins, painting the ancient stones with warm gold. Jay felt a mix of nervousness and curiosity as he walked back toward the Queen's court. Today was the day he would learn more about her world and maybe find some answers. The path led him deeper into the ruins, where shadows danced between tall pillars covered in strange symbols. As he walked, Jay noticed small creatures watching him from behind rocks and plants. They were like nothing he had ever seen, thin, with glowing eyes and delicate wings. They disappeared quickly, leaving only a faint shimmer behind. Finally, Jay reached the entrance to the Queen's court. The large archway was carved with symbols that glowed faintly blue. Beyond it, a wide plaza stretched out, filled with tall buildings made of smooth stone and shining metal. The air felt alive with quiet energy, and Jay could hear soft music playing somewhere far away. The Queen waited for him at the center of the plaza. She was dressed in robes that shimmered with colors Jay couldn't name, shades that seemed to move and change like water. Her eyes met his, calm and steady. "Welcome to my world, Jay," she said. "This is where I rule." Jay followed her through the plaza, trying to take everything in. The people around them were not like humans, but they moved with grace and purpose. Their skin came in many colors: soft green, pale blue, and deep violet. Some had markings that glowed faintly, like tattoos made of light. Jay felt a strange mix of awe and fear. This was a place of beauty, but also of power he did not yet understand. The Queen led him into a large building. Inside, the walls were decorated with murals showing the history of her people, their victories, their losses, and the curse that had shaped their lives for centuries. "This is the story of my people," the Queen said softly. "We were once free, proud explorers like your kind. But the curse changed everything. It binds us to this place and to a fate we did not choose." Jay studied the murals, seeing images of battles with dark creatures and mysterious machines. He could feel the weight of history in the air. "Why does the curse need marriage to break?" Jay asked. The Queen's eyes grew distant. "The curse is tied to the bloodline. Only a union between two who are willing can begin to undo it. But it is not just a simple marriage, it is a bond of trust, respect, and sacrifice." Jay nodded slowly. This was more than a deal or a punishment. It was a challenge that required courage and heart. As they moved through the court, Jay noticed a group of aliens gathered nearby. They watched him carefully, their expressions a mix of curiosity and caution. One stepped forward, a tall figure with silver hair and eyes that sparkled like stars. "I am Terran, the Queen's advisor," he said, bowing slightly. "You must understand, Jay, that this union affects all of us. The curse touches every life here." Jay shook Terran's hand. "I want to help. I don't know how yet, but I want to learn." Terran smiled, a little softer than Jay expected. "Good. We need allies, especially brave ones like you." The day passed quickly as Jay learned more about the Queen's people, their culture, their struggles, and their hopes. He saw that despite the curse, they were strong and proud. They had built a world full of beauty and knowledge, even in the face of hardship. As the sun set, Jay and the Queen returned to the ruins where they had first met. "You have seen much today," the Queen said. "What do you think?" Jay looked at her, feeling a mix of respect and something deeper. "I think your people are amazing. And I think the curse can be broken. But it will take time and trust." The Queen smiled, a rare light in her eyes. "You are wise, Jay. More than I expected." For the first time, Jay felt less like a prisoner of fate and more like a partner in a story much bigger than himself. But even as hope grew, a quiet worry settled in his heart. What dangers still lurked beyond the walls of the court? And what would happen if he failed? The night was calm, but the stars above seemed to whisper secrets yet to be told. Jay knew one thing for sure: his journey had only just begun. Days passed, but Jas' world had changed forever. The ancient ruins and strange skies of Varys now felt like home, but his thoughts stayed with the alien queen. He couldn't deny the strange connection growing between them, a bond that surprised him every time they met. Each day, Jay learned more about the queen, whose real name was Lyra. She was more than the powerful ruler he first feared. Beneath the crown and robes was someone who carried the weight of her people with quiet strength and sadness. One morning, Lyra invited Jay to walk with her through the gardens of the court. The gardens were unlike any Jay had seen, glowing plants in soft blues and purples, flowers that hummed with light, and small streams that shimmered like liquid glass. "This is my favorite place," Lyra said softly. "It reminds me that even in darkness, life finds a way." Jay looked at her, noticing the gentle way her eyes softened in the sunlight. "I never thought I'd find something like this on Varys," he admitted. Lyra smiled, a small, real smile that reached her eyes. "There is more to my world than the curse." They walked in silence for a moment before Jay asked, "Why did you choose me? Why me of all people?" Lyra stopped and looked at him carefully. "Because you didn't look away. Most are afraid of my gaze, but you held it. That means something." Jay felt a flush rise to his cheeks. "I wasn't sure if I was brave or foolish." "Maybe a little of both," Lyra laughed quietly. The sound was like music, soft and comforting. As the days passed, Jay and Lyra spent more time together. She showed him the secrets of her people, their art, their music, and their way of life. Jay shared stories from Earth and other worlds he had visited. Despite their differences, they found common ground in simple things: hope, kindness, and the desire to protect those they cared about. One evening, as the twin moons rose high in the sky, Jay and Lyra sat near a quiet pool. The water reflected the stars, and the air was cool and still. "I never expected to feel this way," Jay said quietly. "At first, I thought this was a curse I had to escape. Now, I'm not so sure." Lyra reached out and took his hand. "I feel the same. The curse is part of our story, but it is not all of it." Jay squeezed her hand gently. "What happens if I say yes? If I marry you? You become part of my people. You will share our fate, our joys, and our struggles," Lyra replied. "But you will also help us break the curse." Jay nodded, understanding the gravity of the choice. "I want to try. Not because I'm forced, but because I believe in you and your people." Lyra's eyes shone with gratitude. "That means more than you know." The next days were filled with quiet preparation. Jay practiced the customs and rituals of Lyra's people. He learned their language better and grew comfortable in their world. The fear that once gripped him slowly gave way to hope. Yet, even as their bond grew, shadows lingered at the edges. Some in the court whispered doubts. Not everyone trusted a stranger from another world. Some feared the change marriage might bring. One afternoon, Jay faced a council of elders, wise figures with eyes full of age and caution. "You must understand," one elder said, voice low and steady. "Our fate is tied to the queen. If the curse is to be broken, it is not just through marriage, but through courage and wisdom." Jay nodded. "I will do everything I can to protect your people." The elders studied him, then slowly nodded. The path ahead would be hard, but Jay was beginning to earn their trust. That night, Jay and Lyra stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing city below. The air was filled with quiet hope. "I don't know what the future holds," Jay said, "but I know I want to face it with you." Lyra smiled. "And I with you." In the quiet of the night, two lives from different worlds found a shared purpose. The bond they were building was more than fate or curse, it was the beginning of something new. The peaceful days in the Queen's court felt like a fragile bubble to Jay. He knew that outside the glowing walls and shimmering gardens, danger waited, silent but certain. And soon, that danger showed itself. One morning, as the twin suns rose over the horizon, alarms echoed through the court. A loud, deep sound vibrated the ground beneath Jas' feet. People hurried past, their faces filled with worry. Jay quickly found Lyra near the palace gates, her expression calm but firm. "What is happening?" Jay asked. Lyra's eyes darkened. "An enemy fleet approaches. They believe the curse weakens our people. They want to conquer Varys while we are vulnerable." Jay felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard stories of other worlds taken by force, but this was different. This was Lyra's home and now it was his responsibility too. The court gathered in the Great Hall. Elders, warriors, and advisors discussed the threat with tense voices. Jay listened carefully, trying to understand the full weight of the situation. "We must prepare for defense," Terran, the Queen's advisor, said. "Our ships are fewer, but we have knowledge of the terrain and ancient technology." Jas's mind raced. He was no warrior, but he had skills, quick thinking, trading, and knowledge from many worlds. He knew he had to help. "I can organize supplies and arrange strategies," Jay offered. "We need to be smart, not just strong." Lyra nodded. "Your human mind may be the key." Over the next hours, Jay worked with the court's leaders. He helped plan defenses, gathered information about the enemy, and encouraged the people. The fear was real, but so was the hope. As the alien fleet appeared in the sky, dark shapes against the blue, Jay stood beside Lyra on a hill overlooking the battlefield. The enemy ships moved with confidence, but Jay saw something the others did not: small weaknesses, gaps in their formation. "This is our chance," Jay whispered. "If we act fast, we can use their own mistakes against them." Lyra smiled with pride. "You think like a true warrior." Jay felt a rush of courage. For the first time, he was not just the traitor caught in a curse. He was part of the fight for a world, for a people who had become his own. The battle was tense but short. Using clever tactics and the strange technology of Varys, Jay and the court's warriors turned the enemy back. The invaders retreated, surprised and defeated. When the last enemy ship disappeared beyond the stars, the court erupted in cheers. Jay and Lyra stood together, their hands joined. "You have saved us," Lyra said quietly. "And proven that this union is more than fate. It is strength." Jay looked around at the joyful faces and realized something important. The curse might have brought him here, but it was his courage and heart that would shape the future. That night, as the court celebrated, Jay and Lyra walked beneath the glowing trees in the gardens. "The danger is not over," Lyra said. "But today, we showed that together, we are stronger." Jay nodded. "I will stay by your side. No matter what comes." Lyra looked at him with eyes full of trust. "And I will stand with you." In the quiet light of the stars, two worlds found hope. A curse had set their path, but love, courage, and unity would lead them forward. The day of the ceremony arrived with quiet anticipation. The air in the Queen's court was filled with a mix of excitement and tension. Jay stood in the heart of the Great Hall, dressed in the traditional robes of Lyra's people, feeling a strange blend of nervousness and determination. He looked around at the faces of the court, the elders, the warriors, and the people who had come to accept him. Their eyes held hope and expectation. This ceremony was not just about marriage. It was about breaking the curse and forging a new future. Lyra appeared, glowing softly in her ceremonial robes. Her eyes met Jas, steady and full of trust. In that moment, Jay understood the full weight of the promise he was about to make. The ceremony began with the chanting of ancient words, filling the hall with a powerful energy. The elders spoke of the history of their people, the curse that had haunted them, and the hope that this union would bring healing. Jay felt the rhythm of the chants deep inside him. It was as if the words carried the power of generations, waiting to be awakened. Lyra took Jas's hands in hers. "Do you promise to stand with me, to share my fate and fight for our people?" Jay looked into her eyes, seeing not just a queen, but a partner, a friend, and a future. "I promise," he said, his voice strong. The elders then presented two ancient rings, crafted from crystals that shimmered like stars. As Jay and Lyra placed the rings on each other's fingers, a soft light surrounded them, filling the room with warmth and hope. Suddenly, Jay felt a new energy inside him, a connection to Lyra, to her people, and to the land of Veres. It was both powerful and comforting. The curse that had seemed so cruel now felt like a challenge they could face together. After the ceremony, the court celebrated with music, dancing, and stories. Jay joined in, laughing and feeling more alive than ever before. He was no longer an outsider. He was part of something greater. But even in the joy, Jay knew the road ahead would not be easy. The curse was not broken yet. There were still dangers, mysteries, and sacrifices to face. Later that night, Jay and Lyra stood on the balcony, looking out at the stars. "We have taken the first step," Lyra said softly. "But our journey is just beginning." Jay nodded. "I am ready. With you, I can face anything." Lyra smiled, her hand in his. "Together, we will break the curse and build a future where no one fears the night." As the twin moons shone above, Jay felt a deep sense of peace. His fate was sealed, not by fear, but by love and courage.